Michael Andrew McKagan grew up in Seattle's largely working-class University District, the youngest of 8 children born to Marie and Elmer McKagan. He has been called Duff since toddlerhood, to which he once referred as an Irish thing. Following his parents' divorce, his mother supported the family by taking a job as a medical stenographer. His brother Bruce taught him how to play bass, and he further developed his skills by playing along with the albums 1999 by Prince and Damaged by Black Flag. In his autobiography It's So Easy, McKagan said that he fashioned himself after punk bassists such as Barry Adamson of Magazine and Paul Simonon of The Clash, and also Lemmy Kilmister of Motörhead. Although an honors student, McKagan dropped out of Roosevelt High School in the 10th grade. He then worked as a pastry chef for the Great American Food and Beverage Company while earning his GED. He was later awarded an honorary diploma after speaking at the class of 2012's graduation ceremony. In 1979, at the age of 15, McKagan formed the punk band The Veins, in which he played bass. During this time he performed under the stage name Nico Teen. The band released one single, School Jerks, in 1980. In 1980, McKagan joined the pop-punk band The Fastbacks as their drummer. He first performed with the band in December 1980 and appeared on their 1981 debut single It's Your Birthday, which was issued on guitarist Kurt Bloch's label No 3's Records. He was later on the song Someone Else's Room, which was included on the Seattle Syndrome Volume 1 compilation album, also released in 1981. His last performance was in July 1981. Around this time he also played guitar in the punk band The Living, which opened shows for Husker Du and DOA, which developed a devoted following. In 1982 they recorded an EP which remained unreleased until April 2021 under the title 1982. In 1982, McKagan became the drummer for the hardcore punk band The Farts, with whom he recorded several demos, 5 of which were included on their 1990 album We See You Crawling. After several lineup changes, The Farts evolved into the post-punk band 10 Minute Warning, for which McKagan played guitar. While McKagan enjoyed the gigs he was working, he tried his luck in Los Angeles after a few years of playing in the Northwest. Upon moving to town he met future Guns N' Roses founders Slash and Steven Adler, and decided to form a trio with the others called Road Crew. The band gave them the kind of visibility they craved, but upon meeting Indiana transplants Izzy Stradlin and Axl Rose, the 5 flirted with the idea of combining forces until finally GNR became a reality in 1985. After a self-released EP gained attention in the Los Angeles area, Geffen signed them for an album in 1986. The result, Appetite for Destruction, would be one of the most important rock records ever released, although it would be hard to tell from its initial impact. The album floundered at first. McKagan even considered going back to Seattle, until Welcome to the Jungle became a runaway hit. Guns N' Roses instantly became a huge sensation, and the media ate up their bad boy reputation and incredible live performances. The whole band let fame get to them, but no member took it as seriously as Axl Rose, who began to shake up the band with his increasingly controversial statements to the media and erratic behavior. Things became serious upon the release of the GNR Lies EP, which featured a racist rant in the song One in a Million that McKagan and Slash both spoke out against in the press. Rose slowly continued to dominate the band, driving out Adler and Stradlin and replacing them with less vocal contributors Matt Sorum and Gilby Clarke. Ironically, McKagan and Slash developed strong bonds with the pair, distancing Rose from the other members. When the band hit the road for the Endless Use Your Illusion tour, the backstage decadence and wild spending became ridiculous, as opening bands would report about orgies and pig roasts to the press. McKagan was disillusioned with the music he was making, and after contributing songs to Iggy Pop's Brick by Brick, he tried his hand at a solo album. His drinking had gotten wildly out of control, and the resulting Believe in Me was a scattered effort that failed to spark the public's interest. When the tour ended, McKagan discovered that his pancreas was in such terrible shape that he had to immediately give up drinking or face almost certain death. After a cover of the Rolling Stones' Sympathy for the Devil, the band members separated to take time away from one another. Thinking that Guns N' Roses was just taking a break, McKagan started working with Slash on the Slash's Snakepit project along with the other members of Guns N' Roses, except for Rose. Sessions for a new Guns N' Roses album continually fell apart, and McKagan started working with the Neurotic Outsiders and several solo projects from fellow and former Guns N' Roses members. As the years began to tick away, Rose finally sent news to the remaining members of the band that they had to stop working on other projects or they were going to be fired. That was the final straw for McKagan, and he separated from the band, joining Seattle punk rockers 10 Minute Warning, a band he'd played in almost 15 years before. A second solo album, Beautiful Disease, was slated for release in 1999, but a record label merger ultimately meant the album was shelved indefinitely, and McKagan lost the commercial rights to it. While some promotional copies made it into circulation, the album never saw the light of day, and McKagan quickly regrouped with a project called Loaded to rework some of the songs from the record. In 2002, he became part of the supergroup Velvet Revolver, a hard rock outfit made up of himself and fellow Guns Slash on guitar and Sorum on drums, Stone Temple Pilots vocalist Scott Weiland, and LA punk luminary Dave Kushner. The band managed a multi-platinum debut album that rose to the top of the charts and kept up a respectable level of success until they disbanded in 2008. After a 6-month stint in Jane's Addiction, the unexpected happened and McKagan rejoined Guns N' Roses in 2010 for a one-off performance. This opened the doors for what eventually led to more shows and 2016's Not in This Lifetime tour, the first wide-scale tour GNR would go on with McKagan since 1993. Following this epic tour, the bassist wrote a book and returned to the studio with collaborator Shooter Jennings for work on his third solo album, Tenderness. The album was more of a departure from hard rock than anything he'd done before, and also tackled a larger number of social and political themes. It saw release in spring of 2019. In 2023, McKagan began sharing new music in advance of his third solo album, Lighthouse. The album was recorded entirely in his home studio and included contributions from Slash, Alice in Chains member Jerry Cantrell, and even a duet with Iggy Pop on one of the album's 2 versions of its title track. It was scheduled for release in October of 2023.